Yes, once again, we have liftoff. I want to thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Big Truth Podcast. And I'm stoked to have my man James McCloud here, who's coming at us from Reno, Nevada, and was introduced by a mutual friend, Asa, out there. And who tells me that James got some really wild stuff to talk about from out in the Southwest. So, James, stoked to have you on. And why don't you kind of introduce yourself, talk a little bit about your background, and let people know where they can find you, and we'll just jump into it from there.
What's up, everyone? My name is James McCloud, like Big Truth said, from Reno, Nevada. I am Washo Paiute. That's the tribes, one of the main three tribes out here. And yeah, we were introduced through Asa. It took a little bit for us to finally link up and get together. Like, I don't know, our schedules are crazy. I left the country.
Good things come to those who wait, though. Good things to come that those who wait. Patience is a virtue, right? We get it done. We get it done. Yeah. I'm stoked to talk today, man. I lived in Arizona for a few years, some years back in the mid '90s, and I love like the Southwest. I love the desert areas and stuff. So, and also I love like the I don't know, for the lack of a better word, the supernatural elements of like desert world out there, and stuff like that. So I'm stoked to get into it today. I know Ace said we could talk about, some stuff like that you've experienced or know about out there. But yeah, man, you got the stage. This is your episode, man. Why don't we kick it in, and then and we'll go from there.
All right. I got a question. Did you experience anything while you were down that way?
I did not experience anything directly, like as far as cryptids and stuff like that go, like is like say a skinwalker or something. No, but I was working with a man who was a medicine man for the Navajo tribe. He was actually he's from the Kansas tribe, but he was working out on the Navajo reservation. His name was Curtis Kakabi, and I actually looked him up not too long ago, and unfortunately he passed, because I would have loved to reconnect with him. But he did bring me way out on the res, in the Navajo res, and I had the opportunity to do a sweat lodge ceremony with him, and some other members of the tribe out there, and I had some experiences with that, but they were more, I don't know, for lack of a better word, more spiritual experiences. Yeah, but I didn't experience any weird like supernatural stuff, you know what I mean? Meaning like, cryptid wise or anything like that.
Sweat lodge is really powerful.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's wild, man. Like, I could tell you the story if you want. I don't know if I've ever told it on the podcast, because it's kind of like a weird, like, it was like a personal thing. So I was a lot younger. This was like in the mid '90s. I was younger. I was in my 20s, and I was just like right out of Boston, like, a city kid, right? And I'm out there for school, and I link up with this guy, and I'm doing work with him, because he was cool, man. He was cool as hell, and he was said he was a medicine man, but he worked at the local VA hospital, and would do ceremonies and healing ceremonies and rituals for natives that wanted to have him, like, he kind of like blessed and did healing ceremonies while people were going in for operations and things like that. Like, so he worked in a medical center, but doing traditional medicine. And those people, believe it or not, I'm sure you believe, but for people that aren't familiar with this, that they had like a much higher success rate, like faster recovery, better outcomes from their like surgical interventions with him doing work with them as well. So it was really cool. But like we became like tight, and he brought me out and said, "You want to come see something?" And we did that ceremony, the sweat lodge, and it was really bizarre, because we're out there like we're off the road now, like we go deep out in the res, and I'm from the East Coast, like our states are this big, right? Like if I drive 3.5 hours, I'm from Massachusetts to Rhode Island to Connecticut, and I'm like in Brooklyn, New York City. You know what I mean?
You can throw a rock and hit another state.
Yeah. So we're a couple hours out deep on the res, and all of a sudden we're not on roads anymore. We're so far out. People were still living in like hogans,
Yeah.
Had well water. They were pumping water out in front of the house and everything. And then we're not on the road anymore. And I don't know how he's navigating. He knows the area, he knows the sites and the landmarks and stuff. And we come in, there's like he's got this little canvas tent type thing, and he's been like heating the rocks up for however long, couple days. There's a mountain lion prints going in and out of it. And he's like, yeah, he stays in here when no one's around. I'm like, yeah, I hope dude don't come back while we're in here. And it was wild. You could hear wild horses, everything. It was just bananas and very surreal, especially for like a city kid. And so we're out there, and for people that aren't familiar with the sweat lodge, you do it in rounds. Like you go in, you do a round, and then you come out. You got to do certain things, go back in, and we did multiple rounds of it. I can't remember how many anymore. This was like going back 20 something years. But so I'm sitting there, and he's starting to chant. He's singing and he's chanting, and it's hot as fuck in there, and it's like,
Mm-hmm.
and then he just starts. He's got a pan with, and he starts ladling water onto the rocks, and there's definitely like sage and stuff, you can smell stuff, but when that water hits the rocks, it hits you like a ton of bricks. I thought my nose was going to break. My face got so tight, the heat, like the wave of heat, I was like going down and stuff. And we did a couple rounds, and then the third round I'm just looking at the fire, and the chant. By now I think I know the chants, like I'm kind of humming along, and I'm like, I know these words. I don't, you know what I mean? But in my head, and I start seeing things in the fire, like weird stuff, and I'm like, oh man, what do you? I was straight edge at the time too, so I was like, what are you putting these? What's breaking off these rocks? Like, did I just break edge? I don't know. I didn't care, but I was like, this is cool, and I'm like looking, and I can see shapes and stuff going into in the flames. It kind of looked like a little bird rising out, like a phoenix type thing or something, and I'm like, oh, this is wild. Like I'm like, am I hallucinating? What's going on? And then we go out, and then we come back in, do another round, and this is where it gets like bizarre, like literally. And people, some people can make fun of me, whatever. I don't care. This happened. Like I don't know other ways to explain it.
Yeah.
Like I'm there, and then all of a sudden I'm like, I'm not there anymore. Like my eyes open or something, and I feel like I'm in the woods, and I'm walking through the woods, and there's snow on the ground, and I see there's like a wolf in the distance, and I'm looking up, and I'm like, oh man. And I lock eyes with the wolf. It locks eyes with me, and I'm like, when you're like, you got that second, like, should I turn?
Mm-hmm.
We're eyeing each other, looking, we're eyeing each other, and then all of a sudden it just lunges at me, and like right before, and I'm like backing up, and then like right before it hits me, I just see this paw come down and smash it, and like push its head to the ground, and it's like a bear paw, and I look, and it's like a bear, and I'm like, oh dude, what the fuck's going on? And then I like snap out of it, and I'm back in my head, I'm like still there, but I'm back present in the sweat lodge. And so we're done. And after, I think maybe there was another round or something. I'm just kind of like, what the hell just happened? I don't say anything. We get like, it's done. And like, we get back in the truck, we go back into Tucson. He doesn't say anything. We just, small talk and stuff. And then I see him like a couple days later. He's like, so what did you see? And I was like, oh, nothing, man. Like I was like trying to like, I don't know, like, yeah, no. And like he's like, oh, what did you see? And I was like, I don't know. Flames look kind of weird. It's a bird or something. He's like, no. And he keeps pressing. He's like, what did you see? And I was like, I tell him the whole story, and he's like, well. And then, man, I should have wrote this down. He was like telling me what everything meant, what the snow meant, the woods, the wolf. But the thing I took away is like, well, you should be stoked. And or he didn't say stoked. He said, you should be happy. And I was like, why? He's like, well, because the bear. And I was like, why? And he's like, that's spirit animal for you. It's a powerful one. Be excited. That's good. And I was like, it still sticks with me to this day. You know what I mean? Like I haven't seen the guy in 20 something years, and it was like, I was like, damn. But that's the only like weird, supernatural thing that I experienced while I was out there, and it was.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
It wasn't like like I came across something weird in the desert. It was like because I was involved in that sweat lodge ceremony, and it was. It was cool. It had a powerful effect on me, man. It's like still with me to this day, and it's cool.
Yeah. Well, we could speaking of sweat lodges, well, I'll go into my when I was in the Southwest, I was luckily invited to a healing ceremony. It has nothing to do with like the rocks or anything, but it's a ceremony called a Yuipi from the Lakota Nation.
Okay.
And it was a healing ceremony for my friend because he had like a lot of like back problems and just a lot of things wrong with his body. And so like the doctor wouldn't help. So like the last the last line was like, we're gonna have the ceremony.
Yeah.
And basically a Yuipi is like everyone who's invited goes into like a room. I don't know how big the room has to be. The room we're in was probably like 20 by 20, maybe, is like a perfect square. But we're all sitting in lines, one like two rows, and my friend was in the front of the square, and then the medicine man, he's in the center. And what happens to the medicine man is he gets wrapped up in like a blanket,
Mm.
and they start singing the songs, and he goes basically, for lack of a better term, into the spirit world.
Yeah.
And calls upon the healers to like come down and like heal whoever's the ceremony is for.
Sure.
And me being like from like the city native, basically, I was just like, man, this ain't true. This can't happen.
Mm.
And he's wrapped up. And like my friend Natani Means shouts out, he's Lakota Navajo. He was telling me like everything that would happen. Like he goes in there and then something's gonna happen. Whatever happens, don't freak out. And I was just like, okay. And then the songs are going, everyone's singing, and you just feel like an eagle entered the room because you just feel like the wings just like fly, like you could hear it. And me still trying to be logical, I was like, it's him. It's him because there was a fan there, and I was like, it's got to be him. And then you just feel those feathers just spread and like fly past you, and I'm like, oh, like what's in the air here?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I start seeing like, looks like someone has like a lighter, like trying to spark it through the air. And I was watching that happen, and I was like, oh man, like this is powerful. And then you start hearing like this, like a high pitched laughter. And that's one of the spirits that comes in and just like laughs and has fun. And then every time we stop, like you could hear like the medicine man be like, keep praying, everyone, keep praying, keep doing this, keep doing that. But you could hear his mouth like he's wrapped up in a blanket like this. So you'd hear him like, keep going, everyone, keep going. And I started looking to where my friend was. And I just see like the snap of light, and my like your eyes start to adjust. It's pitch black in there, by the way. And my eyes started to adjust, and I see these three like figures like over where he is. And the ceiling was like, it was like a 10-foot ceiling. And they were like leaning over him. So if they stood up to their full height, they'd be like 12, 13 feet. I don't know. I just seen them like leaning over him.
Were they like shadows, or did they have like a form? Could you
could see like the silhouette, basically. Yeah, like a shadow, the silhouette, because like
Okay.
that light I mentioned, it was like doing that, and I you could see him, and I was like, holy fuck, what's going on here?
Yeah, yeah.
And then like you could still feel like the eagle flying around the room. And then like the ceremony was coming to an end, and the medicine man was just like, pray harder, pray harder. And then all of a sudden you just hear his voice like clear as day, pray harder. And then someone turned the lights on, and he's sitting just cross-legged, like on the blanket. Like, because I watched them wrap him up like a mummy.
Yeah.
And I was just like, holy fuck, this is wild.
Oh, because all of a sudden he wasn't wrapped
up anymore. He got out of there Houdini style. I don't know how.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They like, once they take him, they'll like put him back, and if you pray like for his safe return, because if someone's like not in it, or they want to see what's going on, because I've heard stories of like white people wanting to see what's happening because it's pitch black in there. They'll spark a lighter, and that will basically stop the whole ceremony. And some lady did that, and then the medicine man like came back, and just like they broke his back because he like fell so hard. That's what. But ours was just like, every time he came back, my friend Dylan, who's the ceremony was for, he was praying for his like safe return. And the medicine man was just like, yeah, man, every time I came back, they just laid me down like a feather. I was worried because sometimes like I would come back and I'd smash my face on the ground and this and that. But he's like, yeah, I was praying like hopefully you come back safe. And then I told him, I seen him standing there like above you, and he's like, yeah, they're really tall. I was just like, holy, like, I afterwards I told Natani, I was like, I didn't want to like, I don't want to say I didn't believe, but I was still like skeptical, you know.
Yeah.
But everything that happened there, I was just like, yeah, this is some real powerful medicine that we've seen, and Dylan's been good ever since.
Yeah, it's
And this
wild,
was
man.
like 10 years ago. Yeah,
Yeah, it's wild. And those chants and those songs, there's whatever it is, there's a power in that stuff, man, like for sure. And it's not I don't feel like it's my place to talk about, but you know, I was stoked and honored just to see it firsthand, you
yeah.
know. I know a lot of people don't. Um the so when you said when you first felt those wings, did you say I don't know if for some reason did you say you felt an evil presence?
Eagle, like an eagle, like a
Oh,
bird.
eagle. Okay,
Yeah, because
I was like, "Oh, that's" I was like, "Oh, man," 'cause I thought it was gonna go wrong or something. I thought you said evil, and then I was waiting for something to go, "Alright, no, that makes sense. Eagle. Alright, man. Sorry about that.
yeah, it
I
was
just misheard."
because
Um,
he had like all these like different items like in his area,
yeah,
and you're not supposed to cross that area like with your foot or nothing.
sure.
And for me, yeah, I was just like, it's just him like waving the fan around, but no, there was like wings. You could feel like the air like pass by your face, and then the feathers like brush your face
Yeah,
and stuff like that. And I was just like, so yeah, I felt that too. And they're like, I was sitting next to my buddy Tani, and you just feel that eagle just go like around
yeah,
him.
that's crazy.
And I was like,
It
oh man,
it's wild. It's wild how something going through something like that will, can change your perspective on things, and, yeah, like you said, it's powerful stuff. And your friend came out of it good and still good 10 years later, huh?
yeah. Like I didn't. I've his back is like really good and everything like that. But it was like I've been to like sweats and stuff before that, but I haven't. I was never like invited to anything like as powerful as you, Weepy.
Yeah. Um, yeah, it's wild stuff. And you know, however it works, whatever it does, like I said, like with when Curtis was working on people while they were undergoing surgery, like his healing prayers, like definitely there was a noticeable difference. Like statistical wise, like on measurement, those people had a higher statistically significant um recovery rate, better recovery rate, like meaning like better outcome and quicker recovery. So whether it's power of the mind, power of suggestion, or power of something spiritual, something there works. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And like people talk about like when they want to talk about it in a scientific sense, they talk about placebo effect and nocebo effect and all this and mind body connection. However you want to explain it, something's there that works. And
Yeah.
it's pretty full, it's pretty wild and interesting stuff. So yeah, man. Hey, yeah, that's rad, dude. I'm glad you got to experience that. Like that's something something special for sure. Have you been involved in any other type of ceremonies like that?
No, not really. Just mainly just from up here, like just sweats
Yeah.
and everything. Funny little side story. I like my first sweat. We almost burned alive.
What would happen?
Well, like the wood pile was like right next to the lodge,
Yeah.
and I guess one of the embers from the fire just like floated over to the wood pile.
Oh, geez.
Because
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
sitting there, we're like in the middle. I think it was like the third, maybe the last round, and then
yeah.
someone comes in and is like, "Hey, everyone, get out of there! There's a fire!" And we looked like we got out, and it was literally like 5 feet away from where we were.
From the sweat lodge.
Yeah, the wood was blazing, and I was like, "God damn!"
Was it like a canvas sweat lodge too?
Yeah, it was
Like
the whole thing.
yeah, that
It
would have
was
went
wild.
right up. Yeah. That's lucky. So, um, I definitely want to talk about some of the cryptid stuff. One thing I want to ask you about first, because I, you had mentioned I don't know if it was you or Asa had mentioned water children, and that was something I wasn't as familiar with, and I read up just a little to kind of even see what that was.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you know, I don't know if you want to launch into that, or you know, if there's something else you want to launch into as far as like you know things you've experienced or know about out there.
Oh yeah, that's number one on my spooky stuff list.
Okay, yeah, let's get down to the spooky stuff, man.
Yeah, we're so like around here we call them water babies,
Yeah.
and it's basically just like our lake is called Pyramid Lake, and there was like a little war that happened there. So when the soldiers were coming, the women would run to the lake and drown their kids, so they wouldn't be taken and or killed by the soldiers.
Mm.
And so every now and again, when you're camping there, you're out there late at night, you'll hear like splashing and people playing in the lake, and they'll try and draw you in and pull you under.
Mm. And so it's spirits of those babies that were killed
Yeah,
to so that
you can hear children playing, and then you'll just be like, they'll try and like lure you in.
And something I read said something like they're like kind of like protector spirits, like protecting the lake or protecting something, or is it just more like, or are they more just like nefarious, like just trying to get you?
I never heard about the protector stuff. It
Okay.
was kind of just like a ghost story to tell you, like, hey, don't be playing around in the lake
Oh yeah,
at
yeah.
night, because out there Pyramid Lake's so scary because there's no lights.
Yeah,
It's just pitch black.
yeah.
And the lake doesn't like, for some reason, doesn't reflect moonlight.
Mm.
And so you can't, like, once you're driving like around the lake anytime at night, you just look over to where the lake's supposed to be, and it's just a black void.
Yeah. That's wild. Yeah, if someone hasn't been in the desert at night, like, and shut their lights off, like, there's no way to explain like how dark it is out there. Unless, depends. Maybe if it's full moon or something, it's not as bad. But it's wild, and yeah, I can imagine. Being in a lake at night out there wouldn't be that smart of an endeavor, with or without water babies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, what are some of the things that you've experienced out there, out in the desert?
For me, it was mainly no cryptid stuff. It's just mainly like ghosts.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I used to work. I'm pretty sure Jason has told you about like I used to work at a smoke shop,
Okay.
like a tobacco shop. They sold cigarettes, and there was always just like things happening or stuff. You come in, you open up, and there's things on the ground. And you're like, I put that away properly. And finally, like we finally caught it on camera one time, because I was coming back from the bathroom and I just hear like cigarette cartons fall.
Yeah.
And I looked back and I looked at my coworkers. I was like, "Did you guys just throw something?" And they're like, "No." And I was like, "Check the cameras right now." And so we went back and checked, and you see me walk by, and then these cartons just fall. And there's no way for like people messing with them. They're like stacked like flush against the wall, so you can't.
Yeah.
There's no give. They'll just go.
They're not like dangling over the edge or anything.
No,
Like,
there's nothing.
Something had
no
to push them. Yeah.
Yeah, they fell, and we're like, "Holy fuck!" And then after that, it just kind of progressed into more like we'd catch it and be like, "Check the camera,"
Yeah.
because we'd see like bags of tobacco just fall, and it's not like the one close to the edge; it's the one like stuffed back that'll push and fall. And so I have several videos on my phone of just like them falling, and then you'd hear like noises. Like I never liked closing, because you'd always hear like, "Hey, go check the back," and I was like, "I'm not going back there." Like, whatever back there could wait till tomorrow. I'm not going back there, because
so it was like the thing nobody wanted to do was close and go have to check the back.
Yeah, check the back, because you'd have to like
new guy do that. Yeah.
For the morning, and I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna do that before everyone leaves.
Yeah.
But another time was me and my
oh,
manager,
by the way,
Gerald.
Before you get into that story, if there's any way, if you could send me, I'll shoot you my number after, like, if you can send any of that footage, you know what I mean, I could include that. That'd be cool.
For sure. But I think the power went out, and so like you can't work when the power's out, so we're just like sitting there telling customers to go to another store because we can't make any sales. And as we're sitting there, we're just like kind of like small chit chat, and all of a sudden, like our branch manager basically has like a very distinct cough. And so we're sitting there talking, and from the back, the storeroom, you just hear, and then we both like, "Was that you?" And I was like, "Is Wade here?" And Gerald's like, "No, he didn't come in today." And I was like, "Go back there and look." And he's like, "I'm not going back there." And I was like, "Yeah, no." And then it's always like things like that. You'll see, it's always corner your eye stuff.
Yeah.
Where like one other employee was like,
but you guys both heard that cough.
Yeah, we both heard it. We like stopped and we just looked at each other, and then I was like, "Is Wade here?" And he's like, "No."
Yeah.
But like another employee like chased somebody through the store once, that wasn't there. Because she's like, I seen someone like back, like there's this little like gap between like where you can go in the back behind the shelves, and you have to like, if you look, you can see like someone walk by barely. But she's like, I seen someone run back there, and I was she was closing.
Yeah, yeah.
And so she chased somebody, and the manager came out, and she's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Someone's back here." And it was like they both like looked through the store, and there's no one there.
Mm. Did they see the video on that one?
No, there's no cameras. Like,
oh, back there.
there's a
Yeah.
camera leading back like a back hallway, and there's not one like. It's not at a good angle to where you can see like the other side of that wall.
Yeah, yeah. So did this happen at random times, or always more towards closing?
It was always random, like
Yeah.
closing and get more frequent, but at like during the day, you'd see stuff like the tobacco fall, or like I remember once in the middle of the camera view is not great because it's like over my shoulder. But there was like, we have a lighter stand, and there was like a little lighter on top. And then I just got done helping a customer, and he was leaving. And right as he walked past that lighter stand, the lighters went floop. And then like you see him like stop and look. And I was like, you saw that, right? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, oh fuck. And he's just like, you just see him like look around, and I like he picked it up and just like put it back.
I thought you were gonna say he thought you whipped it at him or something.
Yeah, that's what he thought. He's like, again, he's like, what was it? I was like, I'm back here, dog. I was like, look, and I was like, I can't. You'd see me like do that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I was just like, dog, I'm over this place.
How you don't work there anymore, right? Or do you still?
No, I've it's been like 5 years since I've lived there.
Did anyone have like that had been there longer or anything? Have any was there any story about what might have been causing that, or why that might have been happening, or is there just something everyone just kind of dealt with, or you know what I mean? Like, did anyone have any reason why that might have been going on?
I don't know. The building used to be a church, so that might.
Yeah,
that's my guess. Like I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Spirits are mad that you're selling tobacco out of the church.
Yeah, the mad we're making money, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. Cool.
But one of them, so when I was still working at the smoke shop, I guess one of the spirits there like followed me home.
Oh, you had a hitchhiker.
Because I was playing video games in my room, and then all of a sudden I just feel like I have long hair, so I just felt like a pull. And I just stopped, and I was just like talking to my buddy. I was like, I gotta go. And he's like, why? And I was like, something just pulled my hair. And he's like, all right, man. Like he understood completely. And he was like, yeah, I get it. And I was all right. And so I like had to smudge my whole house and everything. So I was just like, I didn't want to like, I wasn't having it.
Yeah. So did it seem did it just seem more mischievous or malevolent or like did it seem like did you get like a weird feeling like it was like a bad thing, or did it just seem like just someone kind of like fucking around or something, because
I'd say mischievous more, because it just caught me off guard, because I know when someone's gonna like pulling your hair.
Yeah.
And I just sat on my chair, and I just felt it like a quick yank, and I was like, yeah, nope.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want it at your house, you know what I mean?
We smudged the whole place down, smudged everyone off, and I was just like,
yeah.
Because even like,
would you use sage for that or something?
Yeah, sage.
Yeah.
Because even again, like, it didn't leave, because like I lived at my mom's house, so like I got a text from my sister one time, and she was like, hey, you got to smudge your room off. I was just like, she's like, I thought you were home, because I knocked on your door to say like, hey, dinner's ready, and I heard you respond like, okay. I was like, I'm not home, like, and she's like, yeah, so something's in there like pretending to be you right now. And I was like, oh, because god damn it, I'm gonna come into that.
That gets a little more creepy than like knocking the tobacco over or a little hair pull if it's not, like if it's being a mimic, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So did you guys ever smudge the store?
No. I don't know why.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I was just wondering, because I just didn't know if you guys had tried doing that to the store and it was just being persistent or something, like so did Did anything else ever develop from that, or just like after you guys smudged a couple times, did it finally go away, or like what ended
Yeah,
up
we've
happening?
got we got like tobacco bags over like you're supposed to put them over like the west side of your windows and stuff. We have them here too at my house now, like, but like, I guess when I moved out, it became really like a problem
Oh
to where
yeah,
like they had to like bring someone in to like bless the house and everything and put the tobacco ties over like basically all our windows and stuff.
hmm. What do you what do you think caused that like kind of like increase in activity?
I I couldn't tell you, like I don't
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
could have just
How
like
did it
followed
get
me
worse?
home and then stayed.
Yeah. Like when you left, like what like how did it like when you say it got worse, like did it just happen more frequently, or did it like change in intensity, or did it start doing more serious things? Like what happened?
I think it just happened more frequently where like there's just more noises and more things. People hear someone walking down the hallway when everyone's like going to bed
Yeah.
and this and that stuff falling off, like not being thrown but just like being pushed and everything like that. Like I was like, yeah,
So it's just more in terms of frequency, it just started picking up.
yeah,
But no one like got attacked or anything.
no one's nothing like that, nothing that serious.
Yeah. It's just more of an annoyance. Yeah. The
Basically, like
creepy annoyance. Yeah.
that's how I feel like we perceive our I guess ghost problem is just like
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
like all this again.
Yeah. Here we go again. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'd go back, my friends still work there, so I'd go back and visit them, and they'd be like, "Oh, your ghost is back." I'm like, "What are you guys talking about?" And then they'll tell me like they'll fill me in on what's happening.
Yeah.
More
That's
noises and voices.
Yeah, you might have to go if you go back there, man, you might have to go smudge it and see what happens. Tell them to do it, yeah. Um, but yeah, man, what else? Any other, things that you've experienced out, supernaturally or anything?
Uh, I wrote down on here getting chased by a ghost car. I got chased. This was in Oklahoma. Like I went to visit our friend Warren's family in Oklahoma. It was like me, my friend Rob, I think our our friend Sean Warren. Yeah, it was us four. And then we were just like, you ever been to Oklahoma?
I've been driving through, but I haven't,
Oh
like,
yeah.
spent any
Well, keep
time there, but
yeah, keep driving.
yeah.
It was just basically like just country. We're just hanging out with his friends on the country roads, and then we go and this secluded area, and he told us a story about these like these clowns that came through one time, and they're like their caravan crashed, and that's where they live now, is this little area. And this was way back in the day where these clowns died, but he was just like trying to call them out to like scare us. And so we like scared ourselves and kind of drove away. And as we're just like driving through, I was I don't drink, so I was the DD, so I was driving this truck like I don't know where the fuck I'm going. I'm just driving this road.
Yeah.
And as we're going, we get passed by this. I'm trying to think of what kind of car it was. Is it old? I don't know, like Chevrolet or something. It was just imagine like the Simpsons car but white.
Okay.
It was like
Like an
that. That's what it
80s
looked like.
like a
Yeah,
boxy 80s type car,
yeah.
80s, 90s, yeah.
And so it passes us going east, and then all of a sudden you just see like headlights behind us, and I was just like, again trying to be logical. I was like, there's no fucking way that like you would see this car turn around because it's a 2-lane road and it'd have to do like at least a 3-point turn to turn around.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it was behind us, and I was trying to go, and it was like bumper to bumper with us. And my buddy Warren's like, a bit. He had the same like attitude. He's like, it's the fucking ghost car. And I was like, what? And then he's like, yeah. He's like, oh yeah, there's the car that'll follow you. And I was like, yeah, that's thanks for telling me now. And I'm like, I'm going through these country roads, just like chirping the corners, like trying to lose it. And it's just behind us the whole time, like anticipating my moves, knowing where it's going, because that's its road.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I'm just trying to like make it back to his house basically. And he's like, turn here, turn here, turn here. And this thing's behind us the whole fucking time. And then finally, like, we make it back to his house. And he goes inside, and I'm just like standing on the front lawn, like watching it because it's just stopped at the stop sign. And I'm just watching it just sit there. And all of a sudden, like a car comes and then takes a left, and that car just goes whoop, like right, follows that car next.
Oh, it was that car? And could you see the form of a car, or did you only see the lights on it? Like, I know when it
We
passed, you saw the
we
car, but
passed
like
it. We passed the car, and
yeah,
all of a sudden the lights were behind us, and I was just like, "Holy fuck, it's that car!"
yeah. Yeah, after it had already passed you.
Yeah,
Um, but like when like no, but I mean when you were out of it, when you were out of the car and you saw it at like the stop sign, like could you see the form of the car, or did it
yeah, I
just
could see the
like
car. That's why I knew it was like basically an
and
old
then
80s boxy car. Yeah,
yeah, and then it just followed the next car?
yeah.
So everyone that lived in that area just knew that nuisance? Like, did it try and, like, run you off the road or anything, or was it just, like, being annoying, like, tailgating type of thing?
Basically, it tailgated us. I don't know if it actually tried to like run anyone off the road. I never asked any more questions after that because I was like, "God damn it!"
Sometimes it's better not to know? Is that
Yeah, I was like, I don't want to know any more than I already experienced with that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a wild one, and I've heard you know, I haven't had anyone on, but I've heard on other shows and stuff, like, people talking about, like, ghost cars, stuff like that, like,
Uh huh.
that's wild, man. I've never experienced anything like that. That'd be a little unnerving, man. Were you, like, speeding up, or was it just like, if you
No, yeah, I was like, I was going as fast as I was comfortably going because
on those
an
roads, yeah,
unknown road. Yeah, like I was
yeah.
just like,
Again, probably dark as shit, like, you know what I mean?
yeah,
No lights, yeah, just your headlights, that's the only thing light
basically, I'm just trying to stay on the road, like get away from this thing, and he was just like,
just right there.
"Hey, man." Yeah, I was like, "Oh my god, appreciate it, appreciate you telling me about this."
Yeah. I wonder what you know, it always like, I wonder what the deal is, like, why is it doing that? Like, and what's the purpose? Like, is it, like, just trying to annoy you, trying to mess with you? Is it trying to run you off the road? Is it trying to hurt you guys? Or is it just, like, trying to find its way out of something? Like, or is it just trying to, like, get out? Like, what's it doing? Like, that's such a bizarre type of situation, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I wonder what the intent behind it is. I mean,
Hmm.
I know no one will know. I'm just throwing it out as a weird question. Um, but yeah, so it's a thing that's known in that area, huh?
Yeah, and I'm just like, God. Yeah, it was just, his delivery was just like, it's the fucking ghost car. And I was just like, what? And then,
Yeah. That's funny, man. It's funny when, like, you know, something that can be terrifying to somebody is just like an annoyance, you know, when someone's like just had to deal with it. Like,
yeah,
yeah,
this
just
happens all the time. Whatever.
fucking ghost car, dude. Just keep going. Don't worry
Yeah,
about it.
it's not. It's yeah. Just it'll follow someone else when we get home.
But it's weird because it doesn't follow you. Like that was, you know, you had answered it before. I was going to ask. That was going to be my question. Did it follow you all the way home? But it stops at a certain point, and then you just waited
Yeah,
for the car and then got behind that, huh?
yeah.
That's bizarre. That's a wacky one. Um, did you feel like threatened while you were doing it, or was it just like the nervousness of like, yeah, this is like, as soon as they say it's the ghost car, like, you know what I mean? It's like like meaning, did it feel like aggressive, or did it just feel like, man, it's just there?
The second one basically was just there, and I was just more scared of like getting home and like staying on the road.
Yeah. Wild, man. That's a wild one. Cool. Keep them coming, dude. Anything else?
We'll circle back to Pyramid Lake, and we have what we like to call, I guess, our serpent, which is, we call it the Pyramid Lake snake, but it's just like a serpent.
Mm.
And yeah, it's, I guess people still see it, but there's actually been, I didn't have the book. Like I've fucking, there's a book that documents like, I guess, what was his name? Fremont. He came to the lake one time and then he heard stories about this thing. And it's described as like the face looking like a giant frog.
Mm.
And its mouth is really big. And that's like, people will see it on the shore, just like sunning itself. And then just like leave it alone, basically. But the natives at the time were just like, don't go on the lake, it's out there. And
Yeah.
then he's just, Fremont's like not listening to him, like, well, I don't believe anything I can't touch, basically.
Yeah.
And then they're just like, hey man, I was like, we told you, don't go out there. Like that's why we're not out there right now, because
Yeah.
it's there.
Yeah. You said you're like, it's hot as shit. We'd love to be in that lake right now.
Yeah, like I'm
Yeah,
sweating my ass off, but I'm not going in
yeah,
there.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so
yeah.
him and a crew go out on a boat, and they're just rowing along, and then they see what they like what he described as like a giant frog head like come up
Hmm.
to his boat and then basically like capsize his boat.
Yeah. So has it been known to attack people, or is it just kind of like, you said people just if you see it out there, just leave it alone.
Yeah.
Um, like if you see it, does it like come at you, or like, like you said, it capsized the guy's boat, but when they're in the water, did it come after them in the water?
No,
Or
just like basically just let them leave.
yeah,
Because like yeah, we knew like yeah, don't bother, just leave it alone. Like that's
yeah,
why
yeah,
we're here.
yeah.
And there's been other sightings of like my cousin Tyrell. He told me the story all the time, but I've never seen the picture, but I still believe it. But there's one of his family members, I believe, has a picture of it, like either I think it's on the shore, like it
Mm,
like sunning itself on the shore.
yeah,
And there's a picture of it, and I've never seen it, but he brings it up when
yeah,
we're
yeah.
out there most times.
That's wild, man. Yeah, if you ever see it, if you ever get it, if you ever see it, get a picture of it. If they ever give you a copy of it, let me know. Let me
Right?
see. I forward that over. I would love to see that. I'll look it up and see if there's any do some research. So what was it? What was it? The Pyramid Lake serpent.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And there's other things where just like people telling ghost stories around like the campfire while you're camping there. Because there's
Yeah.
another like I remember as a kid, this old timer named Steven, we're all camping there, and he's like, I remember one time I was going to work and it was like 6 a.m. and I just happened to look over at the lake and I saw this giant fin just come up out of the water and go back down.
So
And I,
it's like a long snake-like thing, but with like a frog type head.
yeah,
But it sounds but it's got like a fin.
yeah.
Okay. Wild, man. Wild. Is it like do people say is it like green like a frog, or is it black? Like what is like
I've never heard of this like
the color?
the colors. Yeah, I've just been told how it looks.
That's wild. Have you had any experience, or do you know anyone that had any experience with skinwalkers? Because I know that's a big one out there in the
Oh,
desert.
dog, there's I'll name you the titles of what I wrote
Okay.
because
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
there's one called Elbows, another one called Antlers BB gun, and then Skinwalker attacking the house.
Oh boy, yeah. Let's get into that, man.
All
Let's
right,
get
I'll
it.
start with Elbows because for me, Elbows was one of the scariest stories I've ever been told, and it's my friend Andrew Dressler's story. He's Navajo, but he used to live in Gallup, New Mexico. He lives out here now, but he used to live in Gallup, New Mexico, and so his Skinwalker stories will scare the hell out of me. And
Yeah.
Elbows was by far the scariest. And basically, it was just him and his buddy were like hanging out basically on this dirt road, just doing whatever, listening to music, talking, passing the time. And as they were going home, they seen something like every time you'd brake, you'd see something in the red light. And he didn't know what it was. And they were going,
Like behind them, like
yeah, behind them. You'd see it like on the side view, you'd see something like moving. And then they were going like 30, 40. And every time they brake, they'd see something like move. And finally, he got a good look at it. And because they broke and it came up like at them, and he described it as someone like on their elbows, like crawling after them.
oh, so it was low. It was like low
Yeah,
like that, and oh
it
yeah,
was just coming after them, and then he's like, we were going like 40,
yeah.
and it was keeping up with us. And I was
It,
just,
yeah, yeah. So what happened? Did they just take off and then
yeah,
lost you?
they dusted it finally, and it was just like, I just never liked the term elbows, like
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah, yeah,
of this
yeah, yeah,
thing just
yeah.
keeping
Whipping
up with
like
the car going 40 just on its elbows, and I was like, I fucking
yeah,
hated that.
yeah, yeah. Did they just? I mean, yeah, that type of movement seems terrifying. Did they describe what it looked like at all?
He just said like he's look like a person, but they were like
Yeah,
just on just coming at like on like we didn't have any other time to like process what what else was going on.
Yeah. And they both saw it.
Yeah, they both saw it, and they peeled out of there as soon as like
Yeah.
they registered what was following them.
Yeah, they did the logical thing and got the hell out.
Yeah. And then
it's wild, man, because for people that don't know, like if you're like, I'm talking people like up here in the Northeast and stuff, like these areas, like these states and desert areas are massive. So who knows what the hell is out there? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's wild. You know what I mean? Like how big and open everything is.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's crazy. So I didn't mean to stop you. Go ahead.
Oh, it's okay. And then I'll just move antlers / BB gun is again, and because I stayed in Gallup for a little while with my buddy Andrew, so we met his uncle Kyle. His name's Kyle Yazi, and we're staying at I guess their family house. And then when we got there, he was just like, when I was younger, we seen a skinwalker in our backyard, and I was like, okay. And so his story was like, we got home, and we were bringing our groceries to the house. And I looked over and bought like they come into the back door. So the back door, there's like this tree. I'd say like 30 yards away from the door, maybe. And he's seen what looked like an elk face, because I seen antlers and I thought it was just like a deer. And it was just like standing there, just like looking at us. So I put the groceries away, came back outside and grabbed my BB gun, and I was just shooting like BBs at it. And it just wasn't moving. And then he just basically got bored of shooting BBs at this deer, and went back inside. And he's like, came back out the next day and looked at where the deer was standing, and there was moccasin prints where that deer was like behind the tree.
Yeah. It's because the for people that might not be familiar, and you could probably expound on this a little bit more, but the skinwalker is like a shapeshifter, right? And it's supposed to be a witch. Yeah, like a witch that shapeshifts and can take the form of an animal or possess animals and things like that. And usually they are not benevolent in the least. They usually got up to something malicious. Did they obviously them shooting it with BBs, even though it wasn't effective, could be seen as an act of aggression. Did the thing ever come back or try anything else, or was it just kind of scoping them out? Like, did they have any other experience with it?
I think that leads into Skinwalker attacking the house.
Okay. Oh, it's the same people, same. Okay,
it's the same house. And then he was telling me the story. We're trying to go to sleep, and he's just like, yeah, it attacked our house one time. Like we heard it like circling the house.
Yeah. Just
like noises. And luckily we just fixed our deadbolt, because they never had a deadbolt on their front door. Yeah. It just is like if you pushed it with your hand, the door would fly open.
Yeah.
And so luckily, like, my uncle fixed the deadbolt so it could lock. And I guess the skinwalker knew about the door, because it tried to like push the door and it was locked. So it was like pounding against the door. And like once it couldn't get in, it started like running around the house trying to figure out a way to get in. Ugh. And like as it was doing that, they had a dog, and it was just like barking at this thing. And as you could hear it, like the dog stopped barking, and they like between like their trailer and like there was like their trailer and then like a I would say like a Winnebago. Yeah. And it was probably like a 3-foot gap in between like the house and the Winnebago. And he's like, that thing grabbed our dog and it was like hitting its head against like the house and the trailer. Like you could just hear it like boom, 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 boom. Yeah. And it's like killed their dog. And then he's like, as soon as that thing like threw the dog away, like we heard an old woman laugh. Ugh. And then it like they just stayed in the house, and it just basically just like went away, because it just like the whole night it was just circling the house trying to get away, like find its way in. Yeah. So he just terrorized them, and then they just gave up. Got on the roof, and they were just like they just had to stay in the house. Yeah. Now with that, is that something like, is that like a random thing, or does the target
people specifically for specific reasons? Did they feel like they were targeted for some reason, or did
I
they
think
just?
it was like a targeting.
Yeah,
Yeah, because they can. It could be just like sometimes it could just be like a random occurrence,
yeah,
but other times, yeah, mainly they'll target somebody. They'll witch them.
yeah. It's wild, man. Did they have any? Then after that, they were never bothered again, or did they have other? How long was that after the BB gun incident?
I've heard. I feel like a few months after. I think something like
Oh,
that. Yeah.
yeah, it bided its time and came back. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's wild, man. That is wild. Like that's going to be completely terrifying. You know what I mean? Because you know, it doesn't have good intent, and like, what is, and it being relentless like that, trying to get in is, all you can do is bunker down. Like, would they that
Yeah.
like? I'd be like, I'd have be guns ablazing at that point. I'd be shooting holes in my roof or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's gonna be the bananas, dude. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's wild, man. I appreciate you taking time and talking about stuff. Did you have anything else? I know you.
I'm
Oh, yeah,
crossing off my list as we go.
okay. Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, dude. Let's go through. Let's crank these out. I know. I know you got to do something a little bit later. So like, yeah,
Oh yeah, we got
plenty of time.
we got plenty of time.
All
Yeah,
right.
another.
Keep it rolling, man. People love this stuff.
Yeah, another. I feel like I can't remember who told me this story, but it was another skinwalker. Like I can't remember their name, but the story stuck with me, and it was just like they were home one night, and like a normal night at home, and all of a sudden, like their uncle comes running in. They're like, "Hey, we got like to get their dad," and it was like, "Hey, we got to go down to grandma's house. There's something there." And then they're just like, "What?" And then they're trying to keep the kids calm. Like, there's like, "Hey, we'll be right back." It's like if there anyone other than us knocks on the door, don't answer it. We'll be right back because we got to figure what's going on. And so their dad and uncle leave, and they're just sitting there like trying to watch TV, trying to like keep it normal. And all of a sudden, like you hear like a knock. They hear a knock at the door, and it's just like, "Hey, it's grandma. Open the door, please." And they're like, "No, Dad said we couldn't open the door because we're not supposed to open the door for anybody." And they're just like, "Please open the door." And it's like, "No, like they can't see who's behind the door. Just please open the door. Open the fucking door." And that there's just like banging on the door trying to get in, just like, "Open the goddamn door right fucking now."
Yeah. Something grandma wouldn't normally say.
Yeah, and then it's just like, "Open the fucking door." And as like they get scared and try to like get a hold of their uncle or dad, and as like they're doing that, they hear like gunfire outside, and the thing like basically like fell against the door and broke it open. And so they like, I feel bad, I can't remember their name, but they seen what it was, and it looked like kind of like their grandma. It looked kind of like their grandma, but wasn't.
Yeah.
And so they threw a blanket over it and like drug it out of the house and got rid of it.
Yeah. So they got it. They killed it.
Yeah, they killed what was attacking them that night.
That's wild. And did it like after it like passed or whatever? Did it change back to its original form, or did it stay like looking something like
I think it stayed looking something
like its mimicked grandmother?
Yeah.
That's wild. They felt like that was a skinwalker or something else.
A skinwalker, yeah. Because I think it was one of those nights where they're just like telling stories.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I got a story to tell. And that was one I was like, damn, you guys are wild. I just got a ghost.
Yeah. Is there like a territory for the skinwalkers, or is that like kind of like all over, like, cause you hear about them kind of everywhere, but I don't know if there's like a region or something that they just stay. Is it more just Southwest, or is it like?
I'd say, man, like supposedly Southwest, because like most of them are, I don't want to like knock on them, but most of them are like Navajo.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it's more in the Navajo territories.
Yeah. But there's other things like if you mention them, they'll show up or something.
Yeah.
And then the default thing when something happened was like, oh, it was a skinwalker. And I was like,
Not always. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes it could just be an elk, or it could be something else, like you said.
Yeah, I would, like every time, like even Like even now, I'm like, I'll try to logically think about it before I jump to that step.
Yeah. If you get, yeah, when you something crawling at 40 miles an hour on its elbows is probably not anything normal, right?
Yeah, but yeah,
You rule out something logically on that, you know, unless there's like a, you know, I don't know. I don't know of any animal that was about that height that could go like, um, but maybe there's something, I don't know. But yeah, man, wild stuff, dude. What else you got on that list there, man?
hold on, I gotta cross that off.
I like that you came prepared with a list of stories to kind of go through. That was
Yeah, I
good.
didn't want to like
Stutter
bumble
through.
my way, my way through this.
Yeah.
And we can go back to cryptids because way back, I wasn't even doing this like that long ago, but there was this. We used to have giants here, and we call them like the red haired giants.
Yeah.
And there's a story in a book called Life Among the Paiutes, written by Sarah Winnemucca, where they basically like hunted them all down because
Yeah,
they
because
were
the giants used to eat
they're
the
cannibals.
killers. Yeah, the cannibals. Yeah.
And so she recounts the whole story of them chasing them to this cave, and then they just like burned them out. Like they're like, if you guys surrender, we won't like just like murder you all. Like we'll let you go. We'll let the women and children go. This and that. And they could speak, but they're like, no, we're not coming out. And so they just burned them all alive.
Yeah, I've heard about that, man. That's wild. That's wild. And you know, there's this whole thing with giants where like they know like, and it's like it's hard to tell, especially now in these days of AI where people can like mess with pictures and stuff.
Yeah.
Like and make things look old or whatever. But like allegedly the Smithsonian has a bunch of giant bones, but they hide them like, you know, deep in the basement or whatever. They never come out. But there's all these photographs that I've seen, even like 10 years ago before AI was, you know, and digital editing was as good as it is now, of people like, you know, like that of like old archaeological digs and stuff where they've uncovered like giant skeletons. So there have been like, I'm of, you know, I don't have any, you know, hard proof in front of me, but I have no doubt whatsoever that there were giants among us at some point. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
what they
this book was written in 1883. So
yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So it's like, but like I've seen old photos and stuff, you know, and I know there's doctored stuff out there, but I know there's undoctored stuff too. But like, you know, what the giants were, I don't know. People go all different ways with them. You know what I mean? Like, you know, as just cryptid or like as a Nephilim, like, you know, people put it in a biblical sense or anything like, you know what I mean? Like fallen angel, you know, the sons of fallen angels and humans breeding. I don't know what it is, but the giant stuff is wild because even now, and that's not just like in the Southwest, that's a global thing. Like, have you heard of the giants of Kandahar? Like where they were like on Desert Storm, like people were saying like soldiers or Marines were like, yo, there was like, yeah, they were coming out of the mountain, like, you know what I mean? Wild stuff, dude. Like these are like modern day, you know what I mean? Out in Iraq and stuff like, or Afghanistan and whatnot. But you know, it's wild. And you know, it is wild when we, you know, whoever takes over, like, you know, in those wars out in the Middle East, they're always destroying relics and artifacts and, you know, the old stuff. Like what's being hidden, you know? Who knows?
Yeah.
Wild stuff. Yeah. I wanted to get someone to come on at some point and talk, you know, more in depth about the giants because it's an interesting topic that I know a little about, but not enough to go do a deep dive. So I'd like to get some more like expert come on and get real deep with that stuff. Is there like, you know, in your personal family or you know, or people, you know, do these stories like get passed down still, or is it still like, you know, like you know, there's all kinds of, you know, people have stories going back in time like to aliens and stuff, or star people, or you know, ant people. Like there's all kinds of wild stuff. Is there any like kind of like old traditions of stories that like for you personally that get passed down or that people still talk about that you're aware of that are interesting?
I would, for me personally, sad to say no, like
Yeah.
because there's not there like I've like most of our elders are passing on, so all their stories are going with
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
But it's like it's kind of tough to be that their stories and our history is like leaving with them.
Yeah. Are young people just not as carrying on as much, or they're not as interested in that, or is it just
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, it's
but yeah,
I mean,
oh
that
good.
happens with everything, I think, you know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
I think that's a general societal problem, and you don't see people giving much credence to old people and their experience anymore. It's a bunch of young 20-year-olds on TikTok, like, talking
Yeah,
nonsense. You know what I mean? That's the new media.
but I think that something like this, like your podcast or any other podcast like that deals with like the paranormal and the cryptids and stuff helps because it's
Yeah.
basically like the modern day campfire tales of like
Yeah,
campfire
yeah,
stories. You get to tell your story, and that's
yeah,
kind of like most of where I've gotten my stories is like sitting around with friends and like, do you believe in Bigfoot? And then they're like, oh fuck, I'll tell you this, and then
yeah, yeah,
we'll
yeah,
tell
yeah,
our stories and shit like that, and it'll just snowball into like, now I
yeah,
know what happened to you, and now you know what happened to me.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Yeah, people just don't get out as much anymore. You
Yeah,
can't do it's hard to do a campfire story with like 4 people sitting around on phones. I mean, it's kind of what we're doing now, but you know what I mean? But like, you know what I mean? In general, like, people don't get out and get together as much, you know? Um, but yeah, man, cool. Anything else on that list? It's been a wild list.
um, I'll just touch upon like about I don't know if you know, but whistling.
Mm-mm.
Oh, like our thing is like you don't whistle at night because something will whistle back.
Yeah.
Like it'll call something for you or
Yeah.
to
I,
you.
I I've heard that, like, but I've heard it. But like, what's the you know, I'm not going to interrupt. Go on, go on. You can elaborate. Yeah.
Oh, that's just basically it. Like something like you'll whistle. It's calling something to like to come to you.
Yeah.
And so it's like never whistle at night because I was like you don't know what's out there. And
Yeah.
then my friend Tyler Perone, they have an entity around Big Pine. That's in California, Big Pine, of something called the Whistler.
Mm.
That you whistle and the whistler will it'll whistle back, but like it's described as like kind of like a gaunt being, like really skeletal, but it
Yeah.
has no lips and it's just all teeth,
Mm.
and that's how it whistles back at you.
But obviously it wouldn't be an issue if it just ended at whistling. Like, what's supposed to happen next if you whistle and it whistles back? Like, what's the next step there? What makes it terrifying or bad to do?
Just calling the spirits towards you, and like that's when they'll like attach themselves to you.
Yeah. Okay. And then you have all it comes back with you, and you gotta get rid
Yeah,
of it.
then you gotta deal with
Yeah.
it. And so
Exactly.
like my partner, she'll whistle at night,
Mm.
and I'm like, for the longest time I didn't like say anything. So like my joke was, well, if they come, I'm gonna be like, the child, she was the one whistling.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so finally, like I think, yeah, we're talking with Asa, and he told his wife Jamie like don't whistle at night, and he told her all about that. And then um my partner Taylor, she was just like, why don't you say anything? And I was like, I don't know. I don't want to scare you as much as you're already scared when you're out here sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
just funny because I'll just be like, nope. I was like, it was her.
Yeah. You probably have a morbid curiosity too. It seems like you like weird shit, right? Like, so like
Yeah,
kind of want to see what happens.
we'll see how this plays out.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
where the stage is at. Well, we're handled.
You could deal with it when it comes, but let's see what happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, well, cool, man. Well, hell yeah, dude. This has been like a very interesting thing. Was there? I'm not trying to cut you off. Was there anything
No.
else?
We got yeah, hold on, let me cross this off. Recently, like I don't we were at a friend's birthday party, and then for me, like I just seen what I thought was like a puff of smoke,
Yeah.
I seen it, and then I was just like, again, logically, I was like, who's smoking in here?
Mm.
This is a kid's birthday party. I was like, who's smoking in here? And
Oh, it was in the house. You saw this?
yeah, I saw like I was sitting there, and like above where everyone was sitting, I saw like this like mist like come through, and then that's when again logic brain. I was just like, who's smoking in here?
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh wait. And so like I freaked myself out, but I was like, I'm not gonna say anything to anyone else. I'm not gonna do anything. I was like, I don't want to freak anyone else out right now. But then I like when I got home, I texted her like, or the couple I was with, and I was like, hey, just so you guys know, I seen something. Don't freak out.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm gonna smudge myself off, and if you guys have sage, I'll bring some to you guys.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But right now, like, I didn't want to freak anyone out. But
Yeah. You were trying
to
to
go back to the house.
Yeah, you don't want to ruin the party, but
Yeah, I was just like,
you want to give me a heads up.
yeah.
Did anything happen, or did they just smudge and let it go?
We just I smudged them off because I was like, I don't want to go back to the house if it's something like that.
Yeah. Did they say that anything had ever happened at the house before?
I don't think so. It was a different person's house, so I was just like,
oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go back to that house anymore. Like,
yeah. Cool. I didn't know. Yeah. So it was like friends of yours that were also at the house, but it wasn't their house. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was just like, hey guys, I just want to know. I want to freak you guys out, but I seen something.
Mm.
I don't want to say it at the time, but now that I'm safe at home, I'll bring it up.
Yeah. What do you think that was? Just some spirit or something? Or
I think so. Like I don't think it was malevolent or anything like that. It just happened to maybe be passing through.
Something manifested right there.
Yeah, I just seen it. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah. How much do you think there's just stuff manifesting all the time and we're just not open to it or don't see it or just don't even process it?
I would think, yeah, it's the not processing part, because it's like there's so much things that happen that you want to like categorize it as fake.
Yeah.
But then your eyes can't like when I see things that like I can't explain.
Yeah.
And then I want to like I have to think of it as real because I've never seen that before. Like I don't know how else to describe what I've seen or what I've experienced.
Yeah. It's interesting. Oh, good. So I know you were going to go on to something else. I didn't mean to interrupt.
And I think this might be the last one on my list. It's called Massacre Cave. So there was this is back in New Mexico. No, Arizona. And there's this place called Canyon de Chelly. And my friend Natani Means again, he was just like, yeah, we're gonna go check out Canyon de Chelly. It's this big old canyon. And in my mind, I'm like, it ain't a canyon. It's like a ditch probably. But when we get there, it's literally like Grand Canyon big. Like I never thought it'd be any like something that big in like Arizona.
Mm.
But like we got there, and then he's like, I'm gonna take you to this place called Massacre Cave. And I was like, oh, all right. And guess what time it was? Fucking pushing midnight. And I was like, yeah, that's a good time to be out here. And so we go there. And the reason they call it Massacre Cave is, I guess, I think the Pueblo people, they hid out in this cave while the cavalry came, and it was just like basically like a shooting gallery.
Yeah.
And so it's like a really hard spot to get to, like this cave, but there's like an overlook that you could stand on and see where the cave was or is. And then as we got there, we're just like, oh, this is cool. Like the full moon's out, so you could see everything. And as we're looking across the canyon, we could see like a light. Again, it looked like someone like sparking a lighter, but it was going like straight up the canyon wall.
Like that, like super high up.
Yeah, like it was just like like a light dangling and then like just going straight at the wall. And we just watched it for like a long time. And we like again, we're just like shocked in the silence to where we couldn't explain what it was, but we didn't want to like say anything.
How deep is the canyon? Like, I'm just trying to get an idea. Like you said, it's going all the way up the wall. Like, is it like 300 feet, 400 feet? Like, is it, like how like deep was that?
Let me look it up real quick. Cave Massacre Canyon. Let's see if I could see a height. Because it's pretty like...
It's massive, right? It's
yeah,
not
it's like...
It's not
again,
like 20.
I was just like, it's meh. So let's see. The elevation of Massacre Cave Overlook in Canyon de Chelly National Monument ranges from 6,771 feet to 6,837 feet. So
okay, so this thing shoots up thousands of feet.
Yeah, I was going up like, it was gradually going up like I don't like look like an elevator kind of type, but it was like dangling.
Yeah,
and I was like, there's no like anything.
It wasn't like
explain
a floodlight or something. It was like it was something that was moving.
Yeah, like an orb. There we go.
Yeah, wow. And it just stayed for a long time. Like you
guys, we watched it like go up the wall.
Yeah, that's wild.
And as we're like standing there watching it, we like you hear like the wind. Like there wasn't windy up top, but the wind got caught in the cave and just like you could hear it circling through the canyon and just blew right on the overlook. And that's when we realized, like, yeah, it's time to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? You got to know when it's time to roll.
Yeah. So that's when that happened. We're like, oh, let's get the fuck out of here. And that's when
yeah.
We like drove. Then he was just, oh, fuck, man, I've never seen something like that before. I was like, why'd you bring us out here? And I was like, oh, no, that'd be cool.
Yeah. Well, yeah, let's go to Massacre Cave at midnight, right?
Basically, he's just like,
yeah. Well, cool, man. Well, I want to thank you for taking time to share some of this stuff, man. It's very interesting stuff. At the beginning, we didn't give out any socials or anything. If people wanted to hit up with like for any questions or follow up stuff, like where can people find you?
Oh, you can find them mainly on my Instagram. It's xchief_beefx.
Yeah,
and
I'll have notes.
Yeah, and if you're also into movie podcasts, I'm a co-host of a podcast called The Right Potatoes.
Okay.
To where we basically go back and look at all the movies Rotten Tomatoes has. It's basically reviewed wrong.
Okay.
And go and re-review it ourselves.
Yeah. So you have no shortage of content then, because there's a lot of bad labeling on that site.
Yeah, like you're like, no way this movie's a 60%.
Yeah.
And shit like that. Yeah.
Or no way this one's like a 7% when it was like a great banger of a movie, right? Like
yeah. So we'll go back and then we'll give our honest review and then our score at the end of what we would give it.
Yeah. Any specific genre or just any movie you felt got a bad review?
Basically any movie, and then we'll get like our fans would be like, hey, do this movie, because it's like, okay. Oh well, yeah, we'll add it to the list. Oh, 37, no fucking way.
And where can people find that? Anywhere?
Anywhere, yeah. Spotify, Apple Music.
Okay. Do you got a website or anything for the?
We also got an Instagram. It's the_ripe_potatoes.
Okay. Cool. I'll link that up as well, man, and I'll give it a follow, because I'm a movie buff. You know what I mean? I don't get much time for them anymore, but like I try and get some in. Now, if I try and watch a movie, 9 times out of 10, I fall asleep 25 minutes into it, so it takes me 4 times to watch a movie. You know? But yeah, man, thanks again for coming on and sharing all this. I'm gonna shut this off, but I'm not hanging up, so just hold on 1 second here.
Okay.